All right, let me share this. I'm sharing the entire screen. Okay. I Before I start, let me quickly see whether everything is functioning all right. Okay, yeah, it seems to be all right. Okay, yeah, it seems to be all right. All right, very good morning and welcome to this fortnightly sessions that we at Condura take. The objective of these sessions is basically to keep you informed because the decision that you're taking in terms of going abroad is a big decision. As I keep saying, going abroad, though adventurous, it also comes with a lot of sacrifices, and it's very essential that we understand the country, what it can offer you, and also the whole process by itself. Germany has been a popular destination for Indians, especially people coming from mechanical engineering background. But of late, the popularity has only increased further because there are quite a few students who are looking at non-traditional places. And when I say non-traditional places, this probably would include countries like the US, the UK, or Australia. Of late, of course, Canada has been in a bad place. So, what I'm going to be doing in this session is to talk about Germany, talk about the nature of its economy, where are the jobs available, and I'm also going to be then talking about the whole process of application to German colleges. I'm going to be focusing mostly on the master side of it. However, if you do have any queries on the undergraduation, you're free to write to me. Towards the end of this presentation, I leave with you my WhatsApp number so that you can ping me to have your doubts clarified. As the topic of this session indicates, I'm going to be talking about the application process. I'm going to be talking about the scholarships, the career pathway. When I say career, I'm not just going to limit myself to the student pathway. I'm going to go and talk also about the pathway that leads to the PR, because there are quite a few students who are not just looking at a foreign destination as a means of educational enhancement. They're also looking for a job and possibility of staying there permanently as well. Okay, let's try to understand what makes Germany a powerhouse. You need to understand the fact that if you were to look at the Europe side, there are two parts to it. One is the island part where UK and Ireland comes into picture. They are the English speaking countries. Now, if you were to look at the mainland, there are many countries in the mainland, and most of them do not speak English. Now, if you look very closely, you will realize the fact that of all the countries that are there, which includes countries like Portugal, Spain, France, Switzerland, and many others, Germany is the largest economy there. Germany, in fact, is the engine of the European mainland. Therefore, from economic perspective, it is truly a powerhouse. Now, when you are looking at Germany as a destination, one of the important questions that you need to ask for yourself is what is the probability of you going to a specific area for your master's, getting yourself a job? To elaborate, for example, in India, if you are a person who has done your undergraduation in any of the technology areas like IT, computer science, the possibility of you getting a job is high. But if you were to, let us say, be in an area of biotechnology, there's a very good chance you will get an opportunity to do your master's, but not necessarily get yourself a job in that area because Indian economy is tech driven. Even mechanical engineers, civil engineers, chemical engineers, not many of them actually end up working in their core area. You will find many of them shifting to the field of technology because that is how Indian economy is. Jobs are in that area. So it's very important you understand whenever you are zeroing down on a country, whether that economy actually allows for jobs in the area that you wish to go to. Now, I will be talking in depth about the nature of the jobs available in the sense of sectors, but it's a reality that if you look at the mainland Europe, Germany is a very strong economy. Now, Germany is not one. There are 16 states within Germany, and each of these states bring their own strengths. For example, to talk about an Indian context, if you want to be in the field of technology, it makes sense to be in, let me name the cities: Bengaluru area, Hyderabad area, Chennai area, Gurgaon area. There are a few other cities which are coming forward. But if you are interested in finance, then you have to be in Mumbai area. If you are interested in marketing and sales, probably in Gurgaon area, because most of the headquarters of FMCG companies are situated there. So each state of India brings its own set of strength as well as weakness. The same thing is true for Germany. Not every state is strong in mechanical engineering, not every state is strong in technology. So, depending on which area you wish to look for a job post your master's, you need to be choosing that state properly too. And why is it complex? Because, as I said, there are 16 states. Berlin is, of course, the capital, and the population of Germany is not as huge from the context of the Indian population. Let's not forget, India is number one globally when it comes to the population. Now, what are the key job markets? Uh, I'm sure everyone associates Germany with mechanical engineering. Everyone associates Germany with automotive industry. Now, that is a fact that automotive industry of Germany is quite ahead and is a very good competitor globally. Even today, the opportunities that are there in the automotive sectors are tremendously huge. But Germany is not just about automotive sector. It is little broader. Even engineering and manufacturing sector, there is ample amount of work that is going on, especially in evolving areas like robotics and automation. And Germany is a global leader in that area too. When it comes to the health sector and pharmaceuticals, again, Germany is a leader in that. Let's not forget, in most of the good countries right now, developed countries, health sector, uh, the importance of health sector as well as the opportunities opening in the health sectors have actually increased. And Germany is one where, if you are a person, for example, interested in biotechnology, probably Germany is also one area where that you should look for. So these are the top three sectors. So what is the learning? Learning is that if you are looking for an opportunity in sectors which are not in these three, then the opportunities are going to be a little limited. Having said that, do understand the fact that auto sector and manufacturing sector are not independent by itself. Today, these sectors are also driven by technology. So, is Germany doing well in the area of technology? Answer is yes. There's a lot of good investment happening where they are trying to integrate the technology, especially in the area of manufacturing and auto industry itself. Robotics is one such. There is a good amount of investment happening in aerospace side. So yes, even in technology, but the reality is the opportunities in technology in Germany are not in line with the opportunities which are there, for example, in the US or in Ireland. All right. So, but of course, if you are a person interested in the field of auto sector, you're a mechanical engineer, Germany is one sector that you need, is one country which you should continue to look at it very carefully. Now, how is Germany different from US is something which I will be talking about, because that is also a very important question that you need to ask yourself, because what Germany can offer, US cannot, and what US can offer, Germany cannot. You need to be very sure which of the two offerings, your career goal is more aligned with. Now, let me talk about colleges. Many students are not aware of the fact that there are two different type of colleges or universities, as they call it. It is very essential for you to understand this, because the choice of university is going to be driven by what you want. Similarly, what the universities will look for in your application would depend on in which of these two categories they fall in. I'm sure you would have heard about big names like, Tom Ludwig Maximilian University, All these universities are big names across, but they are what we call as a technical university. There are two big classifications. One is technical university, the other is University of Applied Sciences. Now, technical universities are universities which are to be focused by you if you are a person interested in research and possibility of doing your PhD later. Technical universities do not give you practical exposure, they give you more theoretical exposure. They allow you to do some innovation. So, if you are a person inclined towards that area and you are open to, as I said earlier, doing your PhD, then you should focus on technical universities. Many of the Indians who go abroad, and that also includes to Germany, are more interested in jobs. Now, if you are a person after master's interested in jobs, then the focus is not technical university. Your focus, as the name rightly suggests here as well, should be University of Applied Sciences. Now, the difference is in the curriculum itself. For example, in the technical universities, you will be doing research work. You are supposed to be presenting a dissertation. You have to defend your thesis. While in applied sciences, you will actually be doing internship, which is a compulsory part of the curriculum. So in University of Applied Sciences, what you get is a practical exposure. Let's not forget, German education is known for the linkages with the industry. Now, these linkages, especially on the practical side, is much stronger in University of Applied Sciences than technical universities, where the research and development linkages are the prominent ones with the industry. So don't rush into a top college. For example, a top college, a more branded college, a more well-known college, probably for you Indians is more because we are aware of those. But there are top colleges in University of Applied Sciences as well. So the first important thing once you have decided that, all right, I'm going to be looking at Germany as a destination, is to ask yourself, what is your goal? Is your goal to enter into the research side? Is your goal to enter into the job market? Basis that, you should understand which are the colleges that you need to look for. So to sum it up, if you are a person interested in research, you are a person open to doing a PhD later, your focus should be technical university. If you are a person looking at job opportunities, making money, then it has to be University of Applied Sciences. Why is this the most important decision you need to take? Because universities, technical universities, the way they will evaluate your application, what they expect from you is very different from what University of Applied Sciences will look and expect from you. All right. So the way you develop your profile will be entirely different depending on which of these two type of universities you are targeting. Now, these are the top universities, technical universities. As I mentioned before, these are universities which are more focused on research. I'm sure you would have heard about Technical University Munich, LMU. These are, both of these universities are actually next door neighbors. There are many other places, many other universities in Germany, quite popular, having a huge pedigree in the sense established quite a many years back. And yes, they have been investing tremendously in research, and the quality of research is also very tremendous. These are technical universities. Now, you also have to bear in mind that majority of these universities are public in nature. Now, this is where I want you people to understand. Normally, people think that public universities are free, even for international students, which is a fact, but that is only by most. Quite a few universities are now moving towards charging a differential fees for students coming from non-EU international destinations like India. For example, from the year 2024, Technical University of Munich has started charging the fees. All right. So unlike students who are coming from Germany or coming from European Union, you as an Indian student would be paying much more in Technical University Munich and many other colleges. But even till date, there are quite a few universities which are still giving it free. Now, free does not mean free. There is a nominal cost, and I will be covering that as I go forward, but it's literally free. But having said that, do appreciate the fact that even when you are paying, it is still a smaller fraction of what you otherwise will shell out if you are looking at the US. All right. University of Applied Sciences, there are big names here as well. These are leading colleges. These are top colleges in Germany. You do remember, as I said, as the name indicates, University of Applied Sciences basically means that you're applying the engineering, which basically means these are job-oriented ones. All right. Here again, you will find a lot of universities which are public. You will find universities which are private. The requirements in terms of application is different, are different. Similarly, the profile that they will be looking at is also going to be different, and I will be elaborating on that as I go forward. Germany is a socialistic economy, but privatization has also kicked in. There are quite a few good private universities as well, which provide quality education. Yes, the fees of this, like in India as well, private universities are going to be charging you a little more than what the public universities are going to charge. Having said that, the fee still is much lower than what you will shell out if you are looking at US as a destination. How much does it cost? Now, majority of the public universities, you don't need to pay any academic fees. Having said that, there's a nominal fees you would have to pay for. That nominal could be as low as 100 euros per semester or 350 euros, or to the range of about 350 euros per semester. Excuse me. But as I said, there are few states in Germany which have now allowed the public universities also to charge. And there the fees could be anywhere from 6,000 per semester, which basically translates to roughly about 10 to 12 lakhs per year in public universities. Private universities charge about the same amount. There's nothing like concession given. There's nothing like free there. You obviously pay for it. But do appreciate the fact that private universities are easier to get admitted to than public universities, because the expectation in the public university and the competition in public university is much higher. In addition to that, you are also going to be incurring living expenses. Certain places like Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt, they can be a bit expensive. You have to, in your budget, think of about 800 to 1,000 euro per month. But there are a lot of facilities that Germany gives because of its socialistic nature of the economy. Health sector, for example, support is going to be there. Similarly, tomorrow, if you were to stay back in Germany, work there, get the PR, your children will get education at a very nominal prices. So yes, as I said, everything that goes along with the socialistic economy, both the pros and the cons will figure in Germany. Now, just to talk about the undergraduation requirement, remember the fact that if you are applying for a public university, colleges would normally look for 16 years of education, but private universities are okay with 15 years. So if you do come from a background where your undergraduation is a 3-year course, then private universities are the ones that you need to be focusing on. Unlike in the US, in Germany, there are two intakes. Winter intake, which starts in September, October, and summer intakes, which takes part in March and April. Winter intake is a bigger intake. Not many universities, not all the programs are offered during the summers. But when it comes to the undergraduation, remember, it is only the winter intake. Summer intake does not exist in undergraduation in the public universities. Now, application process, there's a window that is there. You need to be very careful with the window. Do remember, if you are a person aspiring for a public university, the competition is tremendously high. The reason is very simple. Considering the fact that the fees is low, people obviously want the public universities. Therefore, you need to see to it that you're not just strengthening in your application, but also applying when the window starts. For example, we are right now in January. Most of the public universities have already opened the windows. They will continue to be open till about March end. There are few public universities which will continue to have the window open till even later. But yeah, most of the opportunities in public universities will get over with, all right? Now, in this section of the presentation, I'm going to be quickly talking about the admission process. The reason I'm going to be talking about it is because I need you to recognize the fact that German admission process is quite cumbersome. It's quite lengthy. The documentation required, the work that is required is quite stringent. That is the reason you will notice the fact that many consultancy firms which assist for German education do charge a hefty amount, as much as 40 to 70,000 rupees. while if you are going for the US, the charges are negligible. All right. The reason is the requirements are quite stringent, documentation required is quite complex, and the expectation from the student in terms of the profile is also quite high. I'm going to be going step by step, and I'm going to be talking about certain things that you need to keep in mind. If you're interested in this presentation, you can just ping me up. I will be putting my WhatsApp number towards the end, and I will send you this presentation. So let me not get into the detailing of it. But in each of these steps, I'm going to be talking about what are the important things that you need to necessarily take care of. The step one, number one, is very simple. As I said, research and choose the right program. Now, how do you do so? First, of course, you try to understand where are the job opportunities that are there. Uh, Once you have understood that, it's important for you to then decide on where should I apply, because as much as possible, applying to colleges near the destination of job availability is the best case scenario. All right. Similarly, you also have to understand whether you are going for an English taught program or a German taught program. Now, most of the Indians will obviously go for the English taught program. I'll be quickly talking about the requirements there, and also talking about whether German as a language is something that you need to master if you are going for an English taught program. Now, the point that you need to understand, and one of the websites that you needed to be keeping a tag on, is DAAD. All right, it is basically a department website, government of Germany website, where you get information about all the colleges and all the programs. Go and do a bit of exploration. It will give you details regarding the minimum qualification, the deadlines, what are the documents that you need to have, whether you are eligible, what is the minimum eligibility criteria. So this is the most important website that you need to be exploring. Now, that is in addition to any specific university website. For example, if you have decided on certain colleges based on your research in DAAD, then you should not just limit at that. You should make it a point to go to the university website and explore a little more. Now, do remember the fact that unlike other countries, most of the colleges in Germany will be looking at TOEFL or IELTS requirement. Of late, there are universities which have started looking at Duolingo as well as PTE, but I will strongly urge you to be preparing for either TOEFL or IELTS, because you have two fights. Fight number one is admission fight, where obviously if there are, as I said, universities which are now accepting Duolingo as well, or PTE as well, but this is a second fight that as an Indian that you will have to do post getting the admission, that is a visa fight. When you go for visa fight, again, they are going to be looking at your English proficiency score, and their Duolingo is not going to be looked very equivalent to the IELTS. So I would recommend you, if you do have time, to be focusing on TOEFL and IELTS, get a good score, a score that can help you both during the admission process as well as the visa process. Now, do appreciate the fact that if you are, for example, let us say, interested in a public university and you are interested in English taught programs. Now, do understand the fact that there are many public universities which offer English taught programs, but the number of English taught programs are a small fraction of what they'll be offering in German. And even within the English taught programs, there are going to be some courses where, the people who are from German taught will also be there. So you will have some certain limitations of the subjects that you can take. There are going to be subjects which are going to be bilingual. But yes, if you only want to take English taught subjects and then get the minimum number of credits that are necessary for you to pass, you can do so. But the number of subjects and the choice of subjects will be a little limited. Now, let us say you are interested in the English taught program, and let us say you're interested in a public university. Should you know German language? Answer is yes, you should. Now, again, there are two reasons for that. One is the admission process itself. When you are filling the application process for a public university, for an English taught program, they will be asking you your proficiency in German language. Now, understand the fact that while evaluating your application, they will be giving weightage if you know German language. So knowing German language will help you improve your chances of getting admission in a English taught public programs as well. Now, when it comes to the private universities, of course, then the insistence on German language is not there. So for people who do not know English, your probability of getting into public universities will become slimmer. The second important thing that you need to understand is when it comes to the visa. During the visa time, again, this query will be asked about your German language, where you need to necessarily see if you're going for a public university that your German language skills are much higher. Normally, I recommend students who are applying to at least have a A2 level of German language. But if you're going for a public university, by the time you go for visa, it's highly recommended to have completed the B1 level as well. Now, when you go for applied science universities, I would recommend you people to start investing your time in learning German language. The reason is very simple. The greatest advantage of German education is the tie-ups they have with the industry. So while you are doing your masters there for the courses that you are undertaking, you will be doing you will get an opportunity to do a lot of industry-specific, industry-oriented workshops, programs, internships. But for you to get to that, it is important that you have control over your language skills of German. Why? Because most of the German people do not speak English. So though the curriculum would be English taught, for you to take advantage of the industry interaction, German language is essential. So when companies, look at your profile for internship, they're not likely to take you up in case you do not know German language. And let's not forget, without German language, you will not be able to get part-time jobs and all that. So yes, German language is very essential. And it's not about you saying, I know it, you need to get a certification. So there are a few tests which are there. You would probably do good to yourself by preparing for these tests and getting good certifications. It's very essential also to understand that quite a few leading universities, public universities, especially in the area of mechanical engineering, automotive engineering, will demand GRE or GATE. All right. So please see to it that if you are looking at mechanical engineering or as I said, auto, robotics, etc., and you are focusing on a college, do a bit of research whether GRE is necessary, because without GRE, you will not be able to meet the minimum prerequisite requirements. There's one more very important term that you will come across, APS. All right. Now, in case you know of the US equivalent, in US we talk about WES, WES. What is APS? APS is a certification, is a requirement for you. All right. Now, not all the colleges, not all the programs will demand it, but as an Indian, you cannot escape it under most of the situations. Now, let me elaborate on what is APS. Let us say I am a student. I have done my undergraduation in university like Geetam or Gayatri, and I have applied for, I'm applying for German universities, public universities, and certain programs where APS is required. Now, what happens is all the documents that you get from the universities, they have to be certified to be authentic. They also need a certification saying that your academic standing of the university is good, and the undergraduation requirement that you have met in India is equivalent to the requirement in Germany. All right. Now that is done through APS certification. So what is that you need to do? You need to be couriering all your mark sheet to certain offices. Here, of course, it's in Delhi. They will be taking about 4 to 6 weeks. They will be charging you about 18,000 bucks. And they will be doing some analysis and finally giving you a certification saying that, yes, the undergraduation degree that you have done is equivalent to the requirement for the masters in Germany. All right. Now, this certification is very essential for you to apply. There are many programs where APS might not be required. So do you have an option not to take up APS? Answer is not really. The reason is APS certification required in 2 stages. First stage, not necessarily compulsory. For example, while you're applying, there might be certain programs where APS is not required. But most of the good colleges and public universities will ask for APS. But let us say you are applying for a college where APS is not necessary, so you don't need that there. However, during the visa time, APS is compulsory. All right. So you might as well get the APS done early and keep it ready, which will allow you not just to apply to those colleges where APS is required, programs where APS is required. Later, you can use that certification during your visa as well. However, there's one more point that you need to understand. APS is what? APS basically is certifying that your Indian education is to the standing. Now, what if, let's look at two situations. I have a student of mine who is applying for Germany. She's an Indian, but she did her undergraduate in Switzerland. All right. She completed her undergraduate in Switzerland. Now she's back in India. She has been working for some time. Now she's planning to go to Germany. Does she need APS? Answer is no, but because her academic certification is coming from Switzerland, which is a European, European country, not European Union, but European country. So APS is there only for three countries, India being one such. Now let's look at the second scenario. Let us say you are applying for undergraduation in Germany, all right, and you have done A-level, schooling. That means your education has been in Cambridge board, let us say. So your education is not in Andhra Intermediate Board. Your education is in Cambridge board. Now, had it been Andhra Intermediate Board, then APS might be required because it's an Indian board. But because you have done it in Cambridge board, which is an international board, APS will not be required. So there are certain profiles where APS might not be required, but otherwise APS is very essential. It's a time-consuming process. You should not be delaying it too much. Now, normally I would recommend you people, if you are looking at going to Germany, to get APS done as early as possible. For example, let us say you are in the final year, fourth year of education, then probably the month of October, November, December should be the time when you should get the APS done, so that you have the APS certification for you to use that for your application process. Remember, APS certification is a must. Now, is it necessary for me to therefore have all the mark sheet? For example, I'm in my final year. I only have mark sheet till my 6th semester. I don't have 7th semester mark sheet. I don't have 8th semester mark sheet. How do I get the APS done? Answer is, with whatever mark sheet you have till the 3rd year, you can get the provisional APS certification. Now, once you have zeroed down on the college, depending on what you have, do I have a GRE? Do I have APS? Do I have the German certification, etc.? You zero down on the college. Once you zero down the college, for each of the colleges, you need to see what are the documents I need. And this is where you need to be little careful. For example, the most important thing to understand is when you are applying for technical universities. Remember, I told you technical universities are research universities. They, as a part of the admission proposal application package, they would ask you for research proposal. All right. Similarly, if you are going for architecture or you are going for certain areas, they may also ask for a portfolio. So if you are, let us say, a mechanical engineer with a good profile, you are looking at public universities and you have, APS and various other things, you need to have a research proposal. Similarly, your SOP should highlight your research side of it. It should talk about your final year project thesis. In fact, quite a few universities will ask you for the thesis report. And in case you have not completed your final year, they will ask you to pen down what you are planning to do. So this is a very important aspect, and this is where many students lose out, because most of the students, by the time they come to me, they are already in the final year, and then they say, I want to go to public universities in Germany, and guess what? They have not actually built their profile accordingly. All right. So it's very important, if you are targeting a public university in Germany, you start taking up research activities. There's a clarity as to what sort of research you will do during your undergraduate final year. Even if you have not completed, at least you can mention what you wish to do and elaborate on that. All right. So this is a very important requirement, which unfortunately many Indian students miss out on, thus reducing the chances, even if they have a beautiful profile, to get into good private universities in Germany. Now, when you're applying for the colleges, thankfully, German education model, the system is very, streamlined. You need to know of UniAssist. UniAssist is a very important platform where you can apply to universities in one go. But having said that, be also aware of the fact that not all the universities actually, have outsourced, if I may use this phrase, the whole process to UniAssist. So in some universities, what will happen is that you will have to go to UniAssist, you will have to create your credentials, upload all the documents, including APS, and UniAssist will do the first level of diligence. Once UniAssist has done the due diligence, then you are supposed to be, going to the college, university website, and then starting the application process. But there are many other universities where the whole process is done by through UniSS. So it's very important that depending on which university and which program you're applying for, you need to understand the process. And that is the reason I keep saying German whole process is not just cumbersome, it is confusing. All right. Please also be aware of the deadlines. As I said, meet the deadlines. And of course, the application fee waivers normally colleges don't give. But if your profile is very good, you can write to the universities talking about your profile and asking for application fee waiver. Now, getting a admission offer, there is one small element that you need to remember. While the German universities don't necessarily have interview process, it is possible that they may ask for an interview. Why does that happen? Sometimes they are looking at your profile, they are not really impressed by it. At the same time, they know the fact that your profile is not as bad to be given a rejection. So they want to give a second chance. And the way they give the second chance is by inviting you for an interview. So there is a possibility of an interview involved in it. So do bear that in mind and accordingly be prepared for it. The objective there, of course, would be to discuss on your proposal. For example, if you're mentioned about the research, they will talk about research. If you're going to universities for applied sciences, then they can ask about your prior experience in terms of internships and work. But normally these interviews happen more for universities than for universities of applied sciences, technical universities, that is. Now, once the admission process is over, then before you go for the visa, it is very essential for you to bring your finances together. Like in Canada, which of course now Canada is moving away from. Here, you need to have a blocked account. Blocked account means you will have to deposit an amount which you cannot touch until you reach there. All right. Currently, the value is about 10 lakhs. It's 11,208 euros. This is the amount that you will have to keep in mind. But bear in mind that during this time, before you apply for the visa, you will also be required to pay your tuition fees for the first year. Now, in few colleges, you don't need to pay full first year tuition fee. You are required to pay only 50% of the tuition fee. However, in such cases, the rest of the 50% would have to be kept in block account in addition to the 11,208. All right. So this is also something that you will have to research depending on which college it is, because any screw up in this will impact your chances of getting the visa, which you can, of course, not afford. There are a lot of players which provide scholarship. This is the time to attack those. You go to these various websites, see if you can fight for a bit of scholarship. The chances of you getting scholarship depends on how strong your profile, of course, is. But this is the stage where you should fight for scholarship. All right. Even if you know the possibility is slim, fight for it, because you will learn about the whole process. But more importantly, if you do get any scholarship, it's a matter of prestige for you. Now, applying for a visa. Now, this is again one area, a lot of steps, quite cumbersome. Again, it's not as straightforward as the US. But there's one element which I would like to talk about. And I talk about this because it's very different from other countries. Visa process. For example, let us say I wish to go to America. All right, I am based out of Visakhapatnam, and I wish to go to America. Now, for me, I can have my visa interview in any of these places. I can go to Calcutta Consulate, I can go to Delhi Embassy, I can go to the Mumbai Consulate, I can do it in Hyderabad, I can do it in Chennai. I have choice. But in Germany, that's not the case. For example, if you happen to be from Andhra Pradesh, then you need to have your visa interview only in Chennai. All right. So depending on which geography you are in, you have a consulate where you need to go. For example, let us say you're from Hyderabad. Now, people from Hyderabad would be going to Hyderabad consulate. People from Andhra Pradesh obviously will go to Chennai consulate, like I said. So it is very important that you don't mistake where. Remember, unlike in US, you don't have a choice. You have to go to that provincial consulate depending on which geography you are applying from. All right, now that was as far as the process is concerned. There are multiple steps, but that is something that I'll cover at a later stage. Let me go back and look from the student's perspective. What are the rules of part-time? Now, do understand each country has a different set of rules for part-time. Certain countries give 24 hours per week. Certain countries give 20 hours per week. Germany comes in that category. Certain countries do not allow you to work outside the campus. For example, in US, you are not legally allowed to work outside the campus. In certain other countries like UK, you can work outside the campus. Germany also comes in that category. But do understand the fact that your chances of getting part-time job is a function of how fluent you are in German language. In fact, the salaries are also much higher if you are fluent in German language. So please remember, if you are relying on part-time jobs to, part subsidize your living expenses, it's very essential that you invest in German language now itself. We Indians are not very strong in language skills. And that does not just reflect in English language, it reflects in other languages too. So I will urge you to start investing, putting effort to learn German language, not just because it improves the chances of admission, not just because it improves the chances of visa, but it will also give you, open up a source of additional income in terms of part-time jobs. Okay, now, how do you, what is the pathway? I mean, how do I get the PR? Remember, as I said, many of us, when we go to a foreign country, our objective is not just education. Now, for example, let us say you get a top college, and let's say it's a globally top college in a country which is not giving you PR. There's a possibility you might not go. Let me cite an example. A few years back in UK, what they did is they removed the postgraduate work visa. All right. Now, of course, they have reinstated it. Now, when they removed the postgraduate work visa, you know what happened? Indian students said no to UK. All right. Now, do understand the fact that Cambridge was there, Oxford was there, University College London, all these colleges are still there. But Indians said, we are not coming to you because we are not just coming for education. So the demand for these colleges, in fact, the demand for the UK as a country, plummeted. Which basically means that if you, then an average profile student, had applied to a top college, you had actually got admitted. Yet you would not have applied, nor would you have gone. The reason is very simple. We Indians, when we go, we are not just going for education. We are going there with the possibility of working there, making some money, and also having the possibility of getting ourselves a PR. Now, in Germany, what happens is this. Once you finish your degree, if you get a job, fantastic. If you don't get a job, you can still stay back there and search for a job. During this time, you can work part-time. Now, once you do get a job, then you work for some time. It will give you the pathway to the PR. Now, how long will you have to work in Germany before you get a pathway to PR depends on the nature of job. If the salary you get is high, then it basically means that you can apply for PR even after 33 months of getting the job. In fact, if your German language is good, that duration of 33 months will still come down. Okay, so there is a pathway. That is an important thing too for you to understand. So German, the model that is there ticks that minimum requirement of the pathway. Now, that is the whole process. But there are certain things I will caution you to please have a look at it. Just give me a minute. There are certain things I will caution you to have a look at it. The reason I say this is because this is not like picking a college in India. Number one, be very clear about what Germany has to offer you. Germany is good if you are okay with the socialistic model. All right. Germany is bad if you are not okay with it. In my case, for example, I left a government job in India. I then went to a private sector. I left that job to start my own business. For me, money is important. Now, for a person whose money is important and is a capitalistic person, Germany is a bad country to be. There are people who will fight for the government job. They want the stability. They are fine not making so much money, but they need that mental peace. For them, Germany is a fantastic country to go to. So Germany is good for socialism mindset people. It's bad for capitalism mindset people. Now, to speak in a layman's language, in Germany, you can't make too much money. And whatever money you make, substantial amount of it will be taken by the government in terms of taxes. All right. But government will give you a lot of facilities, health facilities, education facilities, subsidized transport. These are the facilities it will give you, but it will not give you money. And you should be okay with that. If tomorrow you are a person who believe you who keeps comparing yourself with friends who are in other countries and making money, you will find the fact that people in US are making money, all right? And then you're suddenly saddened by the fact that your friends are buying big cars while you are not. But there is another story that you need to understand. They are going to be quite stressed while you probably are not going to be. So do be very clear that what Germany offers to you is in line with what you think you need. Second, the number of Indians in Germany is less, and Germans by nature are not a very open set of people, which means the chance of homesickness is extremely heavy. And that gets compounded if you don't make attempt to go and mingle with the Germans. We Indians are very shy. We don't make effort. We expect others to make an effort. Then you are done in Germany. It will not be, you will not enjoy it at all. Remember the lady I talked about who went to Switzerland? She said those 3 years were the most horrible of our lives because she was not able to fit in that society. All right. Now, in Germany, you have to make effort to fit in. And one of the big investment that you need to do there is in German language, because their people will not speak to you in English, even if they know English, because they believe in the superiority of the German language. All right. Now, I'm making a very general statement. It's not necessarily true for all the cases. There are many of my German friends who are very friendly as well, but majority are not going to be open. There is an anti-immigration movement, but that is something that's happening across the world. So that is something that you will have to live with. There is a degree of discrimination that you will face, which will be more in Germany than probably in the US, Ireland, UK, etc. All right. The German economy is not doing that great. As much as you hear from people from Canada saying jobs are not there, UK saying jobs are not there, US saying jobs are tough, you're probably not hearing too much from Germany because not many of you have friends in Germany. All right, the scenario is everywhere. The fact of the matter is, in today, you have to be really very good to take advantage of the opportunities which are opening up. So if you are doing very well there, if you are, foundation is strong enough, or you're using masters as a way of improving your skill set, at the same time you are doing what are the other elements which I've told you, like investing in German language, etc., opportunity is there. But there is one more element that you need to understand. All right, now let me give you an example of US and Germany. All right, in US, what does the rule say? US, the rule says is that if there's a job opening that is there, there's a company, there's a job opening that is there. Now, two people apply, American native and Indian student who is completing the masters. The rule says that if both are eligible, Americans would have to be given the job. Then the rule says, however, if Americans are not there, then others can be given a job. In others, we Indians come into picture. That is the reason why many Indians find it easier to get a technology jobs in USA than, say, management-oriented jobs. Even many of the Indians who do MBA in the USA, you will realize they end up in tech sector. All right, they don't end up in marketing, they don't end up in finance as many. Majority of them end up in tech sectors, because in other sectors there are enough Americans who are there. So that is what the US rule says. This rule is applicable everywhere. But in Germany, it becomes a bit complex. What does the rule in Germany say? Rule in Germany says, any job opening comes, first preference should be given to the Germans. Now, if Germans are not there, second preference would be given to European Union citizens. Now, understand, a German might not be there, but Italian might be there, a Spaniard might be there. So these are all people who will be given preference over you. Now, if both of them are not there, then it will be open to others. Now, even in open to others, preference will be given to those who come from countries which are which are German speaking. So if there is someone who is coming from a country where people speak German language as the first language, they will be given preference over Indians. So we are actually fourth in the pecking order, all right? Which basically complicates the whole show. That is one of the reasons why getting a job in Germany becomes much more challenging for an Indian. But that goes along, that comes along with the territory. So if it is Germany, then you need to be aware of this, and more importantly, be prepared for this, okay? So, but Germany continues to be a good country to go to. But as I said, be very clear, money is not there. Stability is there. Friendliness is not going to be there. Food habits, especially if you are a person coming from a vegetarian background, you will have much more struggle in a country like Germany. So these are all things, these are essential things that you are aware of. So these are the negatives, what I talked about earlier were the positives. So take an informed decision on these fronts. As I said, the whole objective of today's session was to introduce to you the whole the pros and cons of Germany, and also talk to you regarding the whole process and what are the things that you need to be careful about. As I said, German application process is very cumbersome. Too many documents involved, too many external parties involved. So you need to be very careful when you're researching on the colleges. Get to understand the requirements. But more importantly, see to it that the type of universities that you're selecting are in line with what your goal is and what your strengths are. For example, if you are not a person who's who is too much inclined toward research, or not a person who is interested in the area of research, then please don't apply for technical universities, or believe me, you'll have a bad time there. But if you are a person interested, then do go ahead and apply. These universities are fantastic universities. Do also be aware of the fact that, especially mechanical engineers who are applying, German education system is more mathematics driven. So you will find that in the curriculum, the level of mathematics, including for mechanical engineering, is much higher than what we otherwise are exposed to in India. In fact, even in India, for example, if you are from IITs, you'll realize the fact that you have a lot of mathematics. But if you are from other universities, including JNTU, etc., you'll realize mechanical engineers actually don't do so high level of mathematics. All right. The level of mathematics required in Germany, even for mechanical engineers, is actually very high. So these are things that you will have to take into cognizance before you go in. My WhatsApp number is there. In case you have any queries, you are welcome to ping me up. As I said, in Condura, every fortnight, we make it a point to take one topic and talk about that in depth. Please make it a point to subscribe to this channel so that you're aware. Now, you might have zeroed down on certain countries, but there's nothing wrong in being aware of other countries too. That becomes all the more important because visa is becoming a biggest headache across various countries. So in case it so happens that you are not getting visa for some reason, and therefore you need to fall back on another country, you should be aware of other countries too, so that you're choosing the other country also, intelligently. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it as far as this thing is concerned. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you will make it a point to collect all the information that is required, take an informed decision, because this is the most important of all the decisions, because it's going to determine the pathway of your career and your life. Zakir has asked me, is APS certification required for applying to university? Zakir, as I have mentioned, that depends on which program and which university that research would have to be done. Not all the universities need APS certification, but most of the good universities will ask for it. But having said that, if you have done education from an Indian university, then it's very essential that you do get APS certification, because it will be asked for in the visa. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you next fortnight.